Welcome back to another episode for the China Today 2022. Today we'll continue talking about the 2022 Beijing Winter Games. Today what I want to concentrate on is looking at some of the finance and the political implications of this game. So, finance, how much money has China spent, and what is the calculation behind it? Well, the budget is really small. Budget won't spend a lot of money on these 2022 games. Here is a capture from CNN. The Beijing 2020 Olympic Games will spend about 3.9 billion US dollars. This is remarkably small compared with previous spending. For example, the last Winter Olympic at Sochi, the Korean government spent $50 billion. As for the 2008 Beijing Summer Olympics, Beijing spent about 43 billion US dollars. So the amount of money spent is much less. As we have explained in the last episode, Beijing is reusing a lot of the buildings, stadiums, etc. from the 2008 Summer Olympics. Well, even so, why the China want to host this Winter Olympics? Because everybody knows Olympics are not making a lot of money, and Chinese people skiing, do they enjoy winter sports? Doesn't look like so. Well, the answer is China is now using the Winter Olympics as a focal point to drive domestic interest and spending in winter sport tourism and commerce. So the aim is that while not much of population is interested in winter sports before, they're gonna be after the Olympics. At the moment, there's about 300 million people interested in winter sports in China. Well, although it doesn't represent a large number of the Chinese population, but 300 million people is still a lot of people. Chinese consumers do not have winter leisure sporting traditions. Is that true? We will have a look later on. Lack of demand also diminished supply. There is no supporting ice rinks, ski lodge or resort or slope in terms of infrastructure. So you want to have a supply, then you need demands. And how to create demands? Obviously, make them interested. But the Chinese consumers do not have something going for them. They love new things. Here is a video from TikTok. Let's have a look. See, the Chinese people are now getting onto this winter sport now. Getting Chinese consumers interested in winter sport can kill a couple of birds with one stone. Promote consumption, upgrading since winter sports are not cheap. So having some more expensive leisure activities will boost domestic consumptions. Develop more domestic tourism in poorer and colder northern regions. We know that the wealthy people in China mostly is on the East Coast. If we can make some of these people go to the poorer northern regions to enjoy winter games, obviously they will have a lot of economic activities for this poorer region. Also try to create a supply side industry such as all the skiers and etc. So how is going? The Winter Olympics get people interested in new and strange sports. Bunch of policies to promote venue construction and training. Auxiliary sporting industry will spring up and habits become set. Then after a while, we will have profit. By early 2021, China has 654 standardized rigs, an increase already of over 300% from 2015. So that is only 6 years. Indoor and outdoor ski resorts have reached 803, again up 41% compared with 2015. The Chinese government aims for the ice and snow industry to be 157.2 billion US dollars by 2025. Another interesting is in China there is a ice show in I can't remember the city now, but so it can attract other international tourists to the north to enjoy the winter sports as well as to participate in the ice crafting festival. Now, snow sport is quickly becoming a national marker for the middle class, just like it has been in Europe and US. Sichuan and Guangzhou has seen ticket sales surge for their indoor ski resorts. One of those snow mountains in Yunnan saw a 40% increase in ticket sale in 2021 just compared to 2019. It's only 2 years. Skiing equipment makers are also making to the bank. There are different brand names starting out, and they are making quite a good profit, especially the margins of these things are much higher than the other things. So consumers get a new way to show off, exercise, and travel domestically. Retailers are happy since there is now a growing market with healthy margins. Policymakers are happy since everyone's spending wins all around. All it takes is having a marquee marketing event like 2022 Winter Olympics. So even if the event is loss-making, China's making a bet they will make up on stimulating and cultivating a long-term national pastime. Also, this wasn't even a hidden thing. Main sources of information was from the China Daily newspaper and a 2-hour-long documentary playing on CCTV about the Winter Olympics. So there's nothing hidden about that. The Chinese are quite open in their plan why they want to host this Winter Olympics. China may actually make money due to their green technology and cost control. A few of the venues that once served the 2008 Games were being reused. The International Organization Olympic Committee covers 30% of the cost, and commercials and broadcasting rights cover about 65%. So there's only 5% left for the Chinese government to cover. Actually, winter sport is not new in China. This is a painting in the collection of the Palace Museum. This is a painting in 1802, so it is over 200 years ago. Chinese are also having fun in winter sport. Of course, China is the host nation. People joining there will be, of course, Xi Jinping and the Premier Li Keqiang, and then, of course, the executive president of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. From international guests, we have people coming from Argentina, Bosnia, Ecuador, Egypt, Kazakhstan, etc., etc. I don't think I can pronounce all these people's names correctly. from Macau, which is a special administrative region of China. The Hong Kong executive hasn't come because there are now surges in the pandemic in Hong Kong at the moment. So it is wise for her not to go to Beijing. She's better be in Hong Kong to control the virus situation there. Also, we have the Mongolia, Pakistan, Papua New Guinea, etc., etc. Of course, Russia's President Putin. Again, Siberia, Singapore, etc., etc. There is a lot of important political leaders coming to see the opening. Heads of international organization includes, of course, the IOC president, the General Secretary of the United Nations, and then other United Nations President for the General Assembly, World Health Organization, World International Property Organization, Shanghai and Cooperation Organization, New Development Bank, etc., etc. Royalties. We have the king from Cambodia, and then we have the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, etc., etc. And then we have the crown prince of Dubai, and then Luxembourg, Monaco, etc., etc. So people are also sending the important person to join this important event. Others include Deputy Prime Minister, etc., etc. I'm not going to read through all the list. This information are available in Wikipedia as well. Okay, so eventually the opening ceremony was made, and then after that, what is interesting is the headlines from the newspaper, especially from the Western newspaper, about the opening ceremony. So I have a few screenshots of their newspaper headlines immediately after the opening ceremony. So here are the headlines after the opening ceremony. New York Times. I don't know what they are meaning to say. On one hand, they say China is losing medals because the athletes are brainwashed. On the other hand, they also say China is winning medals because the athletes are brainwashed. I don't know what that's saying, okay? And then Reuters, basic public health measure, a hellish dysphoria. Well, China have to control the spread of the virus, okay? Fox News. So, Pan Shui is clearly visible in this live broadcast. But what if he wasn't? What if she wasn't? Well, Pan Shui has never have any problem in China anyway. The problem was created by the Western media. The Times. Inside the Beijing Winter Olympics. Fake snow. Fake snow. Well, unfortunately, all sporting events, the snow are man-made. So, because that is how the athletes like the snow. Because man-made snow can meet certain standards which natural snow may not be able to meet, and therefore it is much better to use man-made snow. Okay. Chinese people seem happy about the Winter Olympics. We found one comment on social media that disagrees. It's so hard for you to find. Of course, the Chinese people are happy. And then the Washington Post asks, are these headlines jokes and have not happened? Another one. Beijing kicks off the Olympics with surprising end to opening ceremony. Why? Because China chose an athlete with a Uyghur name to help light the Olympia conundrum. I don't know why they are so sensitive even to the names of the people lighting the Olympic fire. Mail online. The most shameful Olympic scenes heedless. The snow is as thick as Chinese propaganda. As I said, all competition snows are man-made. Okay, from no mention of Uyghur Muslims. What the hell? Why we have to mention Uyghur Muslims? Okay, anyway, you can get a glimpse of the kind of response from the Western media. Well, what happened after the opening ceremony? Obviously, this is a photo taken during the opening ceremony. Xi Jinping hosts the world leaders. So this is a COVID-19 gathering of world leaders for a banquet in a big hall. People are quite separated, and of course on one end sits Xi Jinping, etc. After not holding in-person meetings with foreign leaders for almost 2 years due to the coronavirus, Chinese President Xi Jinping engaged in a flurry of face-to-face diplomacy on the sidelines of the Winter Olympics. China looked to project its rising global status. However, despite a diplomatic boycott from many Western nations over Chinese human rights abuses, if there is any human rights abuses, then the boycott becomes legitimate. Unfortunately, they are all based on lies. Anyway, 22 world leaders attended the open ceremony. For the visiting dignitaries, the diplomatic possibilities on the sidelines were a rare opportunity to meet face-to-face with Xi and other senior Chinese officials. Obviously, Joe Biden missed that opportunity. The most high-profile meeting, of course, is between Xi Jinping and the Russian President Putin. Obviously, these two leaders try to show a solidarity between each other among the tension between Moscow and Ukraine. Obviously, these two meets, they have a lot of new deals. Okay, the new deals include $1 billion worth of gas to be sold from Russia to China. And the two leaders in their joint statement said their friendships has no limits. And China sided with Russia on its security demand that NATO put a moratorium on a eastward expansion, especially about allowing Ukraine into the NATO alliance. Other presidents also come. We have the Kazakh's president, and what did he get? They reach a certain agreements, improve the ties. Unfortunately, the railway is still. I think the railway will go ahead. No problem about that. It's just a matter of getting all the details right, and then I think once it's built, it will be built quite quickly. China want to have more extensive railway networks with Middle East as well as Europe. So I don't see that as a problem. Siberia president, ironclad friendship and already strengthen the hand. Okay, fast track what? Fast track some economic and political deals. Free trade agreement, new investment, introduction of direct flights between Belgrade to Shanghai and Beijing. Okay, so that is for Syria. Pakistan. Okay, Pakistan always a good friend. Pakistan and China not only see each other as iron brothers, but they also think that China and Pakistan relationship is as high as the Himalayas. In terms of international relationships with China, Russia and Pakistan stand out as the two most important partners for China. Who else? Argentina. Okay, Argentina. The president of Argentina actually visited also the Museum of the Chinese Communist Party, as well as pay respect to Chairman Mao. And then they have a meeting. After that, they issue a joint statement on deepening the comprehensive strategic partnership. What is important here is that Argentina signed a memorandum of understanding for the Silk Road Economic Belt and the 21st Century Maritime Silk Road Initiative. In short, the Belt and Road Initiative. That means the BRI is now extended into South America. That is the backyard of United States. So this is huge. What happened next, we don't know, but at least Argentina signed a memorandum of understanding. So that will have significant impact in future international politics. And another important thing is Argentina continue to adhere to the One China policy. Okay, and China will continue to support Argentina's demand for the full exercise of sovereignty over the Malvinas Islands. Remember the Falkland Islands war between Argentina and United Kingdom. China is standing on the side of the Argentina in this particular case. So this is for today, and thank you for joining me, and hope to see you next week on another episode for China Today 2022.